here. So I'm here today with Francisco. I was actually he was gracious enough to host me on his podcast about a week ago, and now he's back and he's talking with us, Spire, about why he does what he does. I don't know if if our audience is familiar with a man that kind of changed my life when I looked at marketing and looked at why I need to describe a story rather describe what I do. His name's Simon Sinek. So if anybody out there doesn't know him, please look him up. Look at his 20-minute TED Talk. Absolutely amazing. And he always says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And that's what we're trying to find out today. Right? We want to see why Francisco does what he does, why he cares so much about productivity, and why he decided, to kind of dedicate this part of his life to this, to this study or to this cause. So yeah, Francisco. So what can you tell us some of your background, possibly some previous ventures you may have had?
Awesome. Hello, yeah, I'm Francesca D'Alessio, and just want to say, Minna, thanks very much for having me on Aspire. Sounds fantastic what you're doing with the vision and everything. So that's going to be really exciting. Yeah, so a little bit of background on myself. I was a student. I'm currently a student at Plymouth University, just about to start my placement year, which means I go into the world of business for a full time, which is fantastic because at the moment I'm kind of doing it, my kind of businessy stuff, like half of the time, and the other half is like, well, trying to do student stuff, but not really. But so I've previously, I think I started a business when I was, I started a business when I was 15. And it was basically a website that brought together all these past papers in one place. I did that with a friend, fantastic opportunity to start up. And from there, I grew this, and that's where I am today. I've had a few startup experiences, but now what I'm doing is I'm spending my year in a marketing role, and then I'm working on my personal brand on the side. So I've had a few ventures in business, but I've mainly just trying to like really build a core structure. But I think like with what you said about Simon Sinek, I mean, Simon Sinek's a fantastic guy. Definitely. Have you got him on Instagram, Minna?
Yes.
Yeah, he's he's just such a cool guy on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
But he, as he's saying, it's right. It's always why you do it, not what you do. So I've always been passionate about the way people, communicate with each other. I really like how that works. And that's probably why I've been driven down the languages road with my current marketing role. And also, I like the way how people work in systems like productivity. You get to see two things. You get to see how organized people are, how they utilize their time, and then how smart they work. So actually bringing it to a new level, like really working on that thing and making sure that time is used really, really well, because that really, really interests me at the kind of heart. So yeah, I got interested in productivity based around just a few startups, seeing how people work, and then actually being influenced by that and actually wanting to do it myself, put into practical examples and kind of deconstruct things like that.
Awesome. Wow, thank you. That was some great insight. And so how would you categorize yourself, right? Like, are you, I always get asked this question. So like, they're always like, so I know you're starting this startup. So what is your hack? But well, let's not get into your life hacks yet, but how do you categorize yourself? Are you an organized person? Are you very, very structured? Like, how are you?
In terms of like how I am every day, I actually like a lot of the inconsistency, because a lot of the time when you see kind of productivity experts, they have a very refined lifestyle and it's very based on certainty. But I kind of like throwing uncertainty in there sometimes. So I'm not a specific category. I'm more of a kind of a general productivity expert, or expert kind of quote marks. I don't know whether I am. But what I've been trying to do a lot with at the moment is portray productivity in a kind of different light. What my mission is I'm trying to make productivity more creative, more fun. I'm trying to tell a story with it, essentially. Be able to kind of make things simple, but make things fun at the same time, make it relatable. Because if it's not relatable and you can't go from here's the tool, here's the usage, here's a case study, then you can't really go away and do it. Because I think a lot of the time with, if you download an app, Minna, if you go onto a website and you kind of see this app and then it's played out in front of you in that introductory video, you instantly get a connection to that person in that video. And you instantly want to start using the way they use it. And that's what I'm trying to do with the videos. I'm trying to create set scenarios, case studies where people can go away, start actioning the advice around that tool or that process or that technique. Right. So yeah, I mean, in terms of being a person, I'd say I'm a fairly organized person. I'm quite young, and that's probably what one of my USPs are. So that's what it is. It's kind of organization and being young, which is my kind of category at the moment, I guess.
Well, yeah. Well, everybody likes to be young. I prefer to be young as well. Until we get old, and then we'll have to like think about the good things about being old. But no, but it's interesting that you say that, because also for me, what I've realized is productivity means different things to different people, right? And like a lot of the reason why we started Aspire is because we saw that it's not this specific thing. I can't actually really define it for everybody. It means something to everybody. And different apps work for different people, different systems work for different people. And what we realize is we want to kind of tell a story. We want to show the different ways people are productive. And kind of use that as an inspiration to be like, you don't have to be like bogged down into one idea or one system, and you can kind of define it the way you want. So it's really interesting that you say it like that, because that's a lot of what we're doing as well.
Definitely. I mean, that's a really core part of it. Everyone's different. I mean, your productivity system will be completely different to me. There's lots of other people, but at the kind of core heart of it, it's almost like, you're making a different type of cake every time. You're going to have different ingredients, but you're going to have, a similar end goal, which is a fully productive, organized, and kind of mature person. Yes. So, the ingredients are going to be different every time, but when you're moving forward, there's going to be different different routes to market. There's going to be different ways to get to that end goal for each and other people.
100%. I completely agree with that. And I guess so. You've interviewed quite a few people, I guess, so since you started this project, right?
I've got a lot more. I've got a couple scheduled for this week.
Okay.
But I want to be doing a lot more, especially with the kind of high up the guys who make the productivity apps. Yeah. Those are the guys that have a really, really cool concepts around productivity. Yeah. Because they focus a lot about context, and that's probably the biggest thing at productivity at the moment. Yeah.
So I an interesting question would be, what themes do you see in these people or in these systems? Like key themes, maybe like 3 key themes that you see in the people you're interviewing, maybe why they're doing it, or the reason, like their angle to how they get to these apps or these systems.
Yeah, definitely. I find that a lot of people that I do interview and I do talk to that are deemed really productive are the ones that take it in stages. They go from being very organized. So they're organized people. If you look at their lives, they break things up, they chunk it, they have these specific techniques for specific areas. Then also on top of that, they're proactive. Like they won't sit around waiting for something to happen. They'll go and do the next step. If someone's not replying to their email, they'll go forward and kind of jump in and try and intercept that. They'll actually move one step ahead of everyone else. So a lot of those people, a lot of those kind of tech CEOs, those big guys, they're always one step ahead of everyone else because they are doing that process. They're actually actioning information as they come in. They're both organized, and then they're actually proactive with it, because you can get a person that's really organized, but when they're organized and they're not going to be great at taking action because they haven't taken action before. So you could be organized, but you won't get anywhere. But if you take action and then you're not organized, you might be a bit inefficient. So having a good balance of those two, the kind of organization and then the proactiveness, that's going to get you somewhere. And that's what I see as a trend between a lot of these kind of tech CEOs, definitely.
100%. And I think I think as you were talking, I realized the theme from talking to you and other people is that it's not about the system, and it's not about this one thing that I'm doing, but it's about like the lifestyle that I'm leading, and kind of putting all these things together, right? So like my organization leads into me being able to not worry about things being organized because they already are, and then I'm able to take action and more action.
Yeah.
So it becomes kind of a lifestyle, and not just based on like an app or like a one systematic approach.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like for me, I think when I was about 17, I read the GTD book, Getting Things Done by David Allen, 2001. And what happened there was, even though it's a very general system, when you read the book, you understand that a lot of people do it anyway, but they don't realize they're doing it. But when you have something, you can apply it to everything. So it's a very, like, you can have different systems, but one rule that fits all scenarios. So, for example, now if tasks approach it in the same way I will approach another task, maybe they're both different ends of the spectrum, but having that ability to go through a system and bring it through, and the motivation to go through that sort of system, and apply it to everything, I think that's really, really important.
Awesome, nice. And so, can you list like 3 things that you may use, like a productivity app or a life hack you live by or something?
Yeah. So I've managed to be able to like test out, and I do get contact companies, apps out there. There's a lot of things to choose from, but I would say for anyone going out there choosing those applications, you need 2 things. You need solidly, one, the most important thing is you need trust in that application. You need to be able to go in that application and like feel good about it. You need to go, okay, number 1, I trust that it's actually going to store all my stuff safely. And number 2, I trust that it's going to be efficient enough that nothing's going to go wrong, unless it's a human error. Nothing's going to go wrong with this sort of system. So going in there and making sure you got trust is a really, really important thing. The next thing, and tools for that, a few examples of tools. For there's Todoist, Swipes. I mean, I got a Wunderlist t-shirt on they sent me. So I'm not pushing that.
Yeah.
But pretty much. But there's a lot of those. Those 3 core ones are really good. Kind of note-taking applications. There's Evernote. I mean, Evernote's obviously the kind of pretty much there's 100 million users, and there's a conference in November, it's probably going to be 150 million. So I mean, that's a really big one. So Evernote, and then also you've got your visualization part of your productivity system, which is being able to see everything that you've got. And I'd use something like if you've got a Google Calendar, an iCal, or even a Microsoft Calendar, then Sunrise.am brings it all together. Fantastic app, looks great. But in regards to like productivity in general, I mean, you're probably exactly the same. Something that we learned from Gary Vee and also Tim Ferriss is, with Gary Vee, he works long hours. He works long hours, but he also incorporates the kind of Tim Ferriss style of things, which is working really, really smart with those hours. So being able to work as long as you can, without compromising certain things, because I believe like spending time with family and things like that will help you in your system already. Like going on a run will help you in your system because it saves you core amounts of time. But working long and working smart is quite valuable. I mean, if you've got if you've got your why, if you found your why already, if you found your Simon Sinek why, then you have the ability to, if you're on a Friday night and you're not going to go out on the night, you're not going to go out on a night out, and you're going to work those 5 extra hours in the evening because you know what your why is and you want to action on your why, then that's absolutely fine. You know what it is, and what, if someone tells you, don't do that, you're going to be passionate about it to argue back. So definitely working hard, working smart. And those 3 sections of applications are pretty important to go away with. And if you follow me on Twitter, I'm going to be continually reviewing those as I go along, because I'm going to find flaws. Productivity, like for my productivity system, every day I find something wrong with it. And I think that's quite important to know, that you will find certain things wrong as you go along. And it's important. Those holes are important to fill as you go along, because once you are able to understand those holes, you will become more productive over time, because you'll fix those holes and everything runs even more fluently.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And I'm sure our audience thanks you for that. And I guess the last question would be, so you wake up, you shower, you brush your teeth, whatever you do, your morning routine, you eat. But what's the one thing you're dedicating the first hour to? That's a big question. People always want to know, how do I start my day off right? And start off with the important stuff, or maybe start off with the unimportant stuff, or whatever your system is. What do you do?
Yeah. Just talking about Tim Ferriss again, obviously a quite big player in the productivity world. He has this thing called, basically what he suggests you do is basically map out your first hour of your morning. And it's almost like you're making a list of something that you could give to someone else, and they could relive the exact amount of time you spend, what you spend your time on in the morning. And I've done that in the past, and I know my morning system. It's usually wake up, get ready for things, head down for breakfast. And I think that is one of the most important things. I can't function in my day without breakfast. I think if you're going out in your day, find a really good breakfast cereal that you enjoy waking up to. Don't get any rubbish stuff. Weird tip, but seriously, it does help. And then for example, while I'm doing my breakfast, if I'm not talking to my partner, I will be, I'll be tweeting. I want to, first thing in the morning, I want to actually see what the world's up to, but I don't want to kind of sit back, sit back with the newspaper. I want to be getting involved. I want to be getting into conversations with people, because then that's where you can find out your news, what's happening in your area. For example, the other day I woke up and I think it was Sunrise got bought by Microsoft, and I didn't really want to read the news story. So I decided to talk to some productivity experts and gurus, and then also the community out there about Sunrise being bought. I wanted to see what the details were from them. And I love that kind of the fact that I can wake up and the communication's there straight away. So yeah, breakfast, and you can find tons online. I think Inc. magazine, Tim Ferriss, all those kind of guys give really good productivity advice for the morning, especially Tony Robbins too. So there's lots of resources out there already. But for me, breakfast and tweeting and talking to people digitally, and a little bit physically is a great way to start the morning.
Nice. Actually, the last thing, if you're not working, you're not tweeting, you're not connecting with people across the world about productivity and your passions, what are you doing? What are you doing for fun? Yeah. We're human beings. I promise people we are human beings. We do other things, I promise. Because people get that misconception that we're just constantly working. But no. Yeah. So what are you doing for fun?
For me, when I do for fun, I like going on walks. I really with my partner, I love going on really long walks. And I also love doing football and running. I'm going to start basketball soon. And I like skateboarding every now and then, different places. So I like just trying something new. And it's about every time you don't have to do the same thing, but if you schedule that time out for you, then try something new, try something that's a bit different. It could be a new language, it could be absolutely anything, but just try something that is a bit diverse and it's going to be a bit fun and kind of test you.
Last time I tried something new, I went skydiving, and my parents don't freaked out. So I don't recommend going that new. But it is a great time. But that's that's
what about you, Minna, while we're here?
I like networking events, but that's the problem is that's also work, because I'm exhausted. No, but I like hanging out with my best friends. I have a very big group of really good friends I grew up with. So when we're available, that's always great. Hanging out with my family, and just laying back and possibly watching a basketball game or something. doing something, action, going to the gym, something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're normal. We're normal people. But
Yeah. Definitely.
I know I'm trying to get across here. But yeah, so I think we're done. You covered a lot, a lot of insight, which is usually not in one sit down. But that was great. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you shouldn't have got me talking.
It was great. Actually, so what we're gonna do is we're looking to launch our beta this week. And what we'll do is, so we're gonna have a section straight for just productivity gurus, and so we're gonna be putting this interview on it, so people just get to learn from a person that's actually studying the industry, and so we'll be putting you there, and obviously people are gonna check out your podcast. We're gonna put your Twitter down below, and hopefully our entire base grows and they grow together, and it's really always great talking to you.
Awesome. No, I mean, we'll keep the conversation with everyone that watches the video, that everyone that talks in the Aspire community. We'll keep it going on Twitter, because that will be the wake up in the morning, and I can have that conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So thank you very much, and if you ever need anything, always reach out. I'm just across the Atlantic, so it's no big deal.
Not too far.
Yeah. Not
awesome.
No.
Thanks very much, Minna, and thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you.